Number 3, Annabel Ewing.
Officer, to ask the Scottish Government whether it will provide an update on elevated flaring at Mossmorran.
Minister Marie-Goujon.
A period of elevated flaring occurred on Thursday the 13th of February during the restart of Fife ethylene plant, and SEPA recorded a significant increase in complaints regarding the site during this period. We fully appreciate the concerns and anxieties of local communities regarding the impact of flaring, as has been expressed repeatedly in this chamber. Prior to the recent shutdown, the frequency of unplanned flaring was unacceptable, and our expectation is that work carried out during the shutdown, combined with work to address SEPA's permit variations, will bring about a reduction in the frequency and the impact of flaring.
Annabel Ewing.
I thank the Minister for her answer, but I would wish to stress that the unplanned elevated flaring last Thursday night was truly apocalyptic in its manifestations, and I don't know if the Minister managed to see it. I certainly did. It went on for 4 long hours, causing extreme disturbance by way in particular of light pollution, and also instilled fear and alarm on the part of many of my constituents. Surely, Minister, it is now time that SEPA press for an accelerated timescale for the proposed new ground flare capacity to be installed, because the current position is entirely unacceptable.
Minister.
I completely understand the concerns that the member has raised, and I think that has been expressed through the number of complaints that were received during that incident. But SEPA has been clear on its objectives of making flaring, which is an important safety mechanism, the exception rather than routine. And SEPA's action is driving the installation of noise-reducing flare tips in this year and in 2021, and the planning, design, then delivery of new ground flare capacity as soon as possible thereafter. The ExxonMobil chemical site at Mossmorran is jointly regulated by the Health and Safety Executive and SEPA, both of which are independent of Scottish ministers.
Annabel Ewing.
Again, I know what the Minister says, but for many of my constituents, the fact of the matter is that their patience has now been exhausted. Does the Minister agree, therefore, that it is time for SEPA to get tough with the enforcement powers that it has and impose stringent penalties for breaches by the operators? And given that SEPA's investigation into the April 2019 unplanned elevated flaring incident is about to be completed, will the Minister now commit to commissioning an independent inquiry into the environmental, health and social impacts of Mossmorran?
Minister.
Thank you. Again, I completely understand the strength of feeling around this. Now, in relation to the investigation that Annabel Ewing raised, SEPA has confirmed that it's focused on a rapid conclusion to its independent regulatory investigation, and that is being undertaken to an evidential standard. Now, SEPA's enforcement powers are exercised independently of government and in line with SEPA's publicly available enforcement guidance in order to maximise transparency. And it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment in any way which would prejudice SEPA's independent regulatory investigation or limit its ability to act. However, SEPA has been clear that compliance with Scotland's environmental laws is non-negotiable. But given that action that's already been taken by regulators, and I know that there's also planned investment by the operators and the publication of a recent report by NHS Fife, it's not clear what any independent inquiry would add at this particular time. However, that is something that will be kept under review.
Alexander Stewart, followed by Alec Rowley.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Residents feel utterly abandoned, and management and ministers are on this flaring issue, Minister. The community wants action, not words. Will therefore the Minister commit to meeting with local residents in the community to allay their fears and support their concerns as a matter of urgency?
Minister.
Again, I would just reiterate, we absolutely appreciate the concerns and anxieties of local communities. However, as it's been previously indicated, ministers intervening wouldn't be appropriate while SEPA has an ongoing regulatory investigation, but please be assured that we are receiving regular updates on the situation.
Alec Rowley.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. What we need is an independent inquiry that will look at the condition of the plant itself. I was a teenager when that plant was built. I have lived in the communities around that plant most of my life, and I'm well aware that the flaring, unplanned flaring, happens when something in the plant breaks and it's a safety precaution. So if it didn't flare, there'd be a danger of the plant, perhaps. As a young person asked at a public meeting recently, is it safe? Will it blow up? And that links to the second question of the independent inquiry that Fife Council and Annabel Ewan has just raised about the health and well-being. So there are two issues. What is the condition of that plant? Because people living in that area are living in fear that that plant one of these days is going to go up in smoke, and the consequences of that. That then knocks on to the health and well-being of the people, because people are living in fear next to that plant. It can't be allowed to continue, so the government needs to, and I ask again, will you order an independent inquiry into the condition of the plant so that we can get some reassurances about how safe or otherwise that plant is? And will you then look at the impact on the health, the mental health and well-being of the people in the communities surrounding that plant?
Minister.
Again, I completely understand the strength of feeling that there is around this, and as a government we absolutely take those concerns seriously. But again, as I've said in previous responses, I think we have to wait and see the outcome of SEPA's investigation, and it's not appropriate for us to intervene on that because they are the independent regulatory body. So we need to see the outcome of that. And again, given that action, I mean, this is also something that involves HSE too, but given the action that's already being taken, again, that planned investment and the work that's already been done by NHS Fife, it would be difficult to see what an independent inquiry would add to that at this time. But that doesn't mean that it would be ruled out, and that is something that we will keep under review.
Thank you very much. And apologies to Mark Bruscall. I'm afraid we've really run over, so we need to end portfolio questions there.